The Galactic Federation University had students from over 300 alien species. This year was special because Alex Murphy, the first human exchange student, had arrived from Earth. Earth was known as a Deathworld, a planet so dangerous that most aliens couldn't survive there. Alex was average height for a human at 5'9", but he seemed tall to many of his alien classmates. He had brown hair, green eyes, and a strong body from growing up in Earth's heavy gravity. He always looked around carefully, a habit from living on a planet with many predators. Professor Zilnax had worked hard to bring Alex to the university. Zilnax was a blob-like alien with 17 eye stalks. Many officials didn't want a Deathworlder mixing with other students, thinking it might be dangerous. But Zilnax had convinced them that cultural exchange was important for galactic peace. The human will be safe, Zilnax had promised the council. His tests show he isn't aggressive and he has agreed to follow all safety rules. What Zilnax didn't say was that he was very curious about humans. Earth had only joined the galactic community 30 years ago, when humans invented faster-than-light travel. Most aliens still knew very little about them. On his first day, Alex got many strange looks. The plant-like Floraxians wilted when he walked into rooms. The gas cloud vaporites became smaller and denser. Only the rock-like Petrons seemed calm, their crystal bodies shining with curious light patterns as they watched him. "I don't get why everyone's worried," Alex said to Krilly, his guide. Krilly had 6 arms and could change color like an octopus. "I'm just here to study alien biology. What do they think I'm going to do?" Krilly's skin flashed with colors in a way that meant she was amused. "Your species is famous, Alex Murphy. Stories about how tough humans are have spread everywhere. Some stories aren't true, but still, your world would kill most of us in minutes." Alex sighed. "Earth isn't that bad. Yes, we have some bad weather and dangerous animals, but it's just home to me." Krilly's eyes rotated in her jelly-like head. "Your planet has acid rain, oxygen that would make many species catch fire, crushing gravity, and animals that hunt and eat each other. And that's just nature, not counting your wars and extreme sports." "When you put it that way," Alex stopped, talking, now understanding why other students seemed afraid of him. The real trouble started when Alex joined the Interspecies Cultural Defense and Safety class. All exchange students had to take this class. Professor Yorban, who breathed methane and was very interested in how different bodies worked, was excited to have a human student. "This term, we will learn how different species protect themselves," Yorban announced, his translator changing his bubbling speech into words everyone could understand. "With student Murphy here, we have a special chance to learn about human defenses." Alex felt everyone looking at him. The class had students with many different kinds of eyes, tentacles, and sensing organs, all turned in his direction. "Oh no," he whispered. "Here we go." The classroom was set up for many different kinds of bodies. Some students sat on benches, others floated in air bubbles, and some stayed in special tanks. Professor Yorban had arranged everyone in a half circle with an open space in the middle for demonstrations. "Each species has defenses that fit their home world," Professor Yorban continued, his methane suit making soft noises as he moved. "The cricks have hard shells." He pointed to a beetle-like student who clicked happily. "The luminals can make blinding light." A glowing, see-through being dimmed politely, and the Multarians can change shape to avoid attacks. Professor Zilnax, who was watching the class, wiggled to show he heard. "Today," Yorban said, "I want student Murphy to show us basic human defense moves." Alex shifted in his strong chair, which was built to hold his heavier weight. "Professor, humans don't have natural defenses like other species. We don't have claws or poison or electric fields." "That's exactly why this will be educational," Yorban bubbled excitedly. "Humans evolved on a dangerous world without good natural defenses, yet became top predators. This suggests you developed behavioral strategies instead of physical ones." A cloud-like student with sparkly dots in it formed a mouth shape. "Is it true humans can grow back cut-off arms and legs?" it asked in a voice like wind chimes. "What?" "No," Alex said loudly. "If we lose a limb, it's gone unless we get an artificial one." "But you can survive losing lots of blood?" asked a crystal student. Well, we can lose some blood, but too much. And we die just like most species, Alex explained, wondering what strange ideas about humans were going around. Professor Yorban raised 4 tentacles for quiet. This is why this demonstration is valuable. Student Murphy, would you show us some basic defense techniques humans use? Nothing dangerous, just for learning. Alex thought about saying no, but noticed real curiosity in his classmates' expressions. Many had stopped being afraid of him, and this seemed like a chance to correct some wrong ideas. I guess I could show some basic self-defense moves, he agreed, but I'll need a volunteer. The classroom went completely quiet. Even the machines seemed to stop humming. Perhaps, Professor Zilnak suggested, moving forward a little, you could use a test robot? We use them for cross-species exercises. A robot floated forward. It was shaped roughly like a person but was clearly a machine, with soft padding and sensors to record impacts. Alex felt relieved, at least he wouldn't accidentally hurt a classmate. The robot will copy my movements for demonstration, Yorban explained, but will respond to your defense techniques. Please start whenever you're ready, Student Murphy. Alex stood and moved to the middle of the room, feeling the gravity adjust. For his weight, he wore the standard university clothes, changed for human comfort, but had taken off his shoes as he always did when exercising. Okay, he said, rubbing his hands together. I'll show some very basic techniques. Nothing fancy. He didn't know that what humans considered basic would seem anything but basic to the rest of the class. Alex stood in front of the robot in the middle of the classroom. He had rolled up his sleeves and was bouncing lightly on his toes, a movement that worried several of the floating alien students. Humans don't have natural weapons like claws or fangs, at least not good ones, but we do have some physical advantages, Alex began, talking like he did when helping at his uncle's training gym on Earth. Our 2-legged stance frees our arms for grabbing and hitting, and our evolution is running. Hunters gives us good stamina and strength for our size. Professor Yorban bubbled with excitement. Please show us a defense scenario. Right. Alex nodded. Computer, make the robot do a simple front attack, low strength. The robot's eyes changed from blue to yellow. It moved forward with medium speed, reaching out with both arms to grab Alex. What happened next caused several students to release their own defense mechanisms. A glowing luminol flashed so brightly that the room's light controls had to dim everything. 2 beetle-like crick students clicked their mouthparts so loudly it echoed off the walls. With smooth, quick movements, Alex stepped to the side of the robot's reach, grabbed its arm at the wrist and elbow, and used the robot's own movement to flip it completely over his hip. The robot crashed to the floor with a loud bang that even affected the gravity field for a moment. The room went silent. That's a basic hip throw, Alex explained into the shocked quiet. It uses the attacker's own movement against them. You turned it off? Asked a shaking plant-like Floraxian, its petals folded tight in fear. No, it's fine, Alex assured them as the robot got back up, its systems resetting. The point isn't to cause damage, but to create space and a chance to escape. Professor Zilnax had changed from pale blue to interested purple. The force needed to move mass that way. It's just leverage and momentum, Alex insisted. Humans have used these techniques for thousands of years. This particular throw comes from a martial art called judo. Martial art? Professor Yorban's translator seemed confused by the concept. You make combat into art? Alex rubbed the back of his neck. Well, yes, many human cultures developed fighting systems that became traditions. They combine practical defense with philosophy and physical discipline. How many such systems do humans have? Asked a Crystal Patron student, its structure vibrating with interest. Hundreds, maybe thousands, Alex replied. Different regions created different styles based on local threats and conditions. Some focus on striking, others on grappling or weapons. The robot had reset its position. Would you show another technique? Professor Yorban asked. Perhaps one that does not involve career throwing? Sure, Alex said. Computer, make the robot do a surprise attack from behind, medium strength. The robot moved behind Alex, then rushed. forward to grab him around the shoulders. In one smooth motion, Alex dropped his center of gravity, grabbed the robot's arm, and pulled forward while turning sharply. The robot flipped over his shoulder and again crashed to the floor. A methane-breathing Gastorian student released a surprised puff of gas. "But you didn't even see it." "Side vision and hearing," Alex explained. "Plus, humans are good at sensing movement and changes in air pressure around us. That was a shoulder throw, by the way." "This is considered basic?" asked Krilly, who had been recording the demonstration with 3 of her eyes. "Very basic," Alex confirmed. "Children learn these on Earth. More advanced techniques would involve pressure points, joint locks, or strikes to weak spots." "I think we've seen enough throwing techniques," Professor Zilnak said, noticing some students' distress. "Perhaps something different?" Alex thought for a moment. "I could show a simple hold. Computer, reset robot and program for aggressive approach, medium strength." The robot approached more forcefully this time. Alex let it get close, then performed a quick sequence of movements that ended with the robot face down on the floor, one arm locked behind its back, with Alex's knee placed carefully between its shoulder blades. "This is a standard control position," Alex explained calmly as the robot's systems whirred in simulated struggle. "It stops movement without causing permanent damage." Professor Yorban's environmental suit was fogging slightly from his excited breathing. "And this is taught to human peacekeepers?" "Yes, but also to regular citizens in self-defense classes," Alex said, releasing the robot and helping it up in a gesture that several species found strangely kind toward a machine that couldn't think. "One final demonstration," requested Professor Zilnax. "Many species are curious about human striking abilities." Alex hesitated. "I don't want to damage the robot." "It is designed to absorb and measure strong impact," Professor Yorban assured him. "Please proceed with what you would consider a restrained strike." "All right. Computer, stationary target mode." The robot stood still, its chest panel glowing to show the target area. Alex took a deep breath, moved into a balanced stance, and delivered a controlled front kick to the robot's midsection. The impact created a sharp crack that caused several water-living students to swim to the far side of their tanks. The robot slid backward nearly 2 meters, its internal systems calculating and showing the force of impact on its chest panel. Impact force, 2,340 newtons. That's the same as a Rigelian powerlifter," Professor Zilnax observed, his jelly-like form rippling with excitement. "And this is without machines or weapons?" "Just a basic front kick," Alex said, embarrassed by the reaction. "I held back quite a bit. A full-strength kick from a trained human could easily be twice as strong." The classroom erupted in a mix of translated questions and shocked comments. Professor Yorban had to use the room's sound controls to restore order. "I think," the professor bubbled once the room was quiet again, "we need to reconsider what we know about human biology and how we classify Earth." Alex looked around at his fellow students, many of whom were looking at him with new expressions, ranging from awe to outright fear, and sighed inside. This was exactly what he'd been hoping to avoid. The next day, Alex couldn't walk down a hallway without feeling a change in the air around him. Some students gave him much more space than before, while others approached with many questions about human fighting abilities. The crystal Petrons had started to follow him at a polite distance, their forms humming with what he had learned was intense scientific interest. "Did you have to break the robot's force sensors?" Krilly asked as they ate a meal in the multi-environment cafeteria. Alex sat at a normal table while Krilly floated in a small gravity field beside him. "I didn't break anything," Alex protested, carefully eating a fake version of pasta. "The robot was built to handle much more force than I used." "The engineering department had to recalibrate it," Krilly told him, absorbing nutrients through her lower tentacles. "Apparently they had to change their basic assumptions about how much force a living being could generate without mechanical help." Alex groaned. "Great. Now everyone thinks I'm some kind of fighting monster." "Not everyone," came a musical voice. A glowing luminal named Eerie floated over, shining softly in friendly blue tones. Some of us found it quite educational. I had no idea Deathworlders developed such sophisticated defense strategies. That's just it, Alex said, putting down his fork. These techniques aren't just for defense. In history, humans also used them for war. I'm worried people will think humans are naturally violent. All species that can use tools also made weapons, Erie pointed out reasonably. The Cricks created sonic disruptors long before joining the Federation. The difference is that you evolved physical abilities as well. Before Alex could respond, Professor Zilnax oozed into the cafeteria, his eye stalks quivering with excitement. Behind him walked a tall, athletic human woman with dark skin and short hair. "Student Murphy," Zilnax called. "Wonderful news. Your demonstration created so much academic interest that we've brought in another human exchange student faster than planned." The woman approached and held out her hand in the human greeting gesture. "Nicole Carter, Earth Defense Force Liaison and Cultural Exchange Officer. Sounds like you've been making quite an impression, Murphy." Alex shook her hand while giving her a pleading look. "Nice to meet you. I was just trying to clear up some wrong ideas." Nicole smiled knowingly. "By demonstrating judo throws? Bold choice." "Professor Yorban asked for basic self-defense techniques," Alex defended himself. "And that's exactly why I'm here," Nicole said, taking a seat at their table. "The Federation University Board has requested an expanded human cultural exchange program, focusing on human defensive philosophies and their relationship to our survival on Earth." Alex looked horrified. "You're not seriously going to teach alien students how to fight?" "Not exactly," Nicole clarified. "I'm here to provide context, to explain how human martial disciplines combine physical techniques with philosophical and ethical principles, how they're as much about personal development as they are about combat." Professor Zilnax's eye stalks waved enthusiastically. "Officer, Carter will be co-teaching a new optional course, Deathworld Adaptation, Physical and Philosophical Approaches to Survival. It's already full with a waiting list." Alex put his head in his hands. "This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. I don't want to be known as the dangerous human." Nicole's expression softened. "That's precisely why this course is important, Alex. Right now, they're seeing human, physical abilities without the cultural context. They need to understand that the same evolutionary pressures that made us physically tough also shaped our compassion, our creativity, and our drive to protect others." "Officer Carter makes a good point," Erie chimed in, her glow shifting to thoughtful purple. "Many students were surprised by your careful handling of the robot and your concern about causing damage. That doesn't match the stereotype of Deathworlders as aggressive and destructive." Alex considered this. "I guess I never thought about it that way." "The course won't just cover martial arts," Nicole continued. "We'll explore human meditation practices, our artistic expressions of struggle and growth, our philosophical approaches to death and risk. These are all parts of Deathworld adaptation that get overlooked when people focus on the physical aspects." "Professor Kiyu," Zilnax's color shifted to an excited gold. "We've already arranged for a specially reinforced training facility and adaptive safety protocols. The board sees this as a groundbreaking opportunity for cross-species understanding. And," Nicole added with a grin, "a chance to dispel some of the wilder rumors. Yesterday, a Vaporate student asked me if humans really digest metals for breakfast." "Despite himself," Alex laughed. "Fine, but I have conditions. No more surprise demonstrations, and we emphasize that most humans go their entire lives without using these techniques in actual combat." "Agreed," Nicole nodded. "This is about cultural exchange, not combat training." 3 weeks later, the newly established Deathworld adaptation course had become the most popular optional class in the university's history. The specially designed training hall could hold up to 50 students of various body types, with viewing areas for those who couldn't safely participate but wanted to learn. Today, Alex and Nicole stood before a diverse group of students, many of whom had initially been terrified of humans, but were now eagerly absorbing every aspect of Earth culture they could access. Before we begin today's practical demonstration, Nicole was saying, I want to emphasize something important. The techniques we're showing you evolved not just for combat, but as systems of physical discipline, mental focus, and ethical development. Alex nodded in agreement. Many human martial arts begin and end with respect. Bowing to your training, partners acknowledging that learning to defend yourself comes with the responsibility to use that knowledge wisely. That is conceptually similar to the Crick's Harmony protocols, clicked a beetle-like student named Zrix. Over the past weeks, she had become one of their most enthusiastic participants. Her initial fear of humans completely transformed into admiration. Exactly. Nicole smiled. Today we're going to explore the concept of ukemi, the art of falling safely. This announcement caused confused murmuring among the students. A Petron raised a crystalline appendage. You developed an art for falling down? Absolutely, Alex replied. On a high-gravity world with hard surfaces, falling incorrectly can cause serious injury or death. Learning to fall safely is actually one of the first skills taught in many martial arts. This shows a fundamental aspect of Deathworld adaptation, Nicole added. Humans don't just develop ways to fight threats. We develop ways to survive accidents, mistakes, and natural hazards. For the next hour, Alex and Nicole demonstrated various falling techniques: forward rolls, backward rolls, side falls, and break falls, each designed to spread impact energy safely across the body. They worked with specially programmed robots that could adjust to each species' unique body type to teach modified versions of the techniques. To everyone's surprise, Professor Zilnax himself participated, his jelly-like form rolling across the mats in what he enthusiastically described as the most counterintuitive and fascinating experience of my academic career. After the practical session, the class moved to discussion. These conversations had quickly become the heart of the course, exploring the deeper implications of human adaptive strategies. What I find most intriguing, said Erie, her luminous form hovering thoughtfully, is that despite evolving on a death world, humans developed art specifically designed to minimize harm even in defensive situations. That's a profound observation, Nicole acknowledged. Many human martial arts emphasize controlling a situation with minimum force. Judo literally means the gentle way. But why? Asked a methane-breathing Gastorian. If your world is so dangerous, wouldn't maximum force be more logical? Alex considered this. Humans lived in social groups to survive. Too much violence within the group would have been harmful. We needed ways to resolve conflicts while preserving community bonds. Additionally, Nicole added, many martial arts developed in times when weapons existed that could kill easily. In such contexts, restraint becomes a valuable skill, the ability to stop a threat without making things worse. A Vaporate student condensed thoughtfully. So Deathworld adaptation isn't simply about becoming more dangerous oneself, but about developing systems that allow for conflict resolution while minimizing overall harm to the community. Precisely, Alex nodded. And these principles extend beyond physical techniques into our philosophical and social structures. After class, Professor Zilnax approached Alex and Nicole as they were putting away the training equipment. I must confess, the jelly-like professor burbled. When I started the human exchange program, I expected to learn about human toughness, but I did not expect such depth. What did you expect? Alex asked curiously. Frankly, that humans would be physically impressive but ethically simple, survival-focused without much nuance. Zilnax's eye stalks waved, and what they'd learned was embarrassment. The Federation has long classified Deathworld species as inherently aggressive and developmentally limited by their harsh environments. That's a common misconception, Nicole said. But harsh environments don't just select for physical strength or aggression. They select for cooperation, innovation, and yes, ethical systems that balance individual and group survival. Indeed. Zilnax's color shifted to a thoughtful blue. The Academic Council is already discussing changes to the Deathworld classification system. Your demonstrations and discussions have provided compelling evidence that environmental pressure can speed up cultural and philosophical development rather than slow it down. As they left the training hall, Alex and Nicole found Crilly waiting for them, along with a small group of students from various species. "We have a proposal," Crilly announced, her skin flashing with excitement. "The Interspecies Cultural Exchange Committee wants to organize a group to visit Earth." Alex nearly tripped over his own feet. "You want to visit Earth, but it's a Class 12 Deathworld. With appropriate safety equipment and environmental supports," said Drix the Crix, her mouth parts clicking precisely. "We've already begun designing adaptive equipment." "But why?" Alex asked, genuinely puzzled. "Because understanding cannot be complete without experience," Erie explained, glowing softly. "We've learned about human adaptive strategies, but to truly understand them, we should experience, even briefly and safely, the conditions that shaped them." Nicole exchanged a glance with Alex, then smiled. "You know, that might be the most human approach to learning I've ever heard from non-humans." "Is that a compliment?" asked a Petron student. "The highest," Alex assured them. "Taking calculated risks for the sake of understanding and growth? That's essentially the human approach to existence in a nutshell." As they began discussing the practicalities of an Earth expedition, Alex reflected on how dramatically things had changed. What had begun as an embarrassing mishap, revealing human physical capabilities out of context, had transformed into genuine cross-species understanding. The alien students no longer saw humans as frightening Deathworlders with inexplicable abilities, but as beings whose physical and cultural adaptations made perfect sense within the context of Earth's challenges. And Alex had gained a deeper appreciation for his own species' unique evolutionary path. "You know," he said to Nicole as the excited students debated which Earth environments would be safest to visit first, "when I demonstrated those basic self-defense moves, I never imagined it would lead to all this." Nicole laughed. "That's the thing about humans that other species find most surprising. It's not our strength or our endurance or our defensive techniques. It's our ability to turn almost any situation, even a potentially disastrous one, into an opportunity for connection and growth." "Is that a Deathworld adaptation too?" Alex wondered. "Maybe the most important one of all," Nicole replied. The planning for the Earth expedition moved quickly. The university's engineering department worked closely with the human exchange students to design environmental suits that would protect the various alien species from Earth's conditions. The Floraxians needed protection from Earth's atmospheric nitrogen levels. The methane-breathing Gastorians required complete environmental isolation. The Vaporites needed pressure regulation to prevent them from dispersing in Earth's air currents. Alex and Nicole found themselves spending hours in the engineering labs, consulting on design specifications and safety protocols. What had begun as a simple self-defense demonstration had evolved into the most ambitious cross-species cultural exchange in Federation history. "I'm thinking we should start with a controlled environment," Alex suggested during one planning session. "Maybe the biosphere facilities in Arizona. They have contained ecosystems but are still authentically Earth." "Good idea," Nicole agreed. "Then perhaps a graduated exposure to natural environments. A forest preserve might be good. Enough biodiversity to be interesting but not overwhelming." "What about human population centers?" asked Drix, who had become the unofficial leader of the student delegation. "We wish to understand not just Earth's natural conditions, but how they shaped human social structures." Alex and Nicole exchanged glances. "That's more complicated," Nicole admitted. "Most Earth governments are still adjusting to the idea of the galactic community. A group of obviously non-human visitors might cause issues." "We understand." Erie's glow dimmed slightly in disappointment. "Perhaps virtual tours?" "Actually," Alex said slowly, an idea forming, "I might know a place. My hometown hosts an annual cultural festival. People come in all sorts of costumes and outfits. With some creative presentation, we might be able to introduce you as elaborate costumes or performance art." "That's not a terrible idea," Nicole said, looking surprised. "With proper preparation and some help from Earth Defense Force contacts, We might pull it off. Zrix's mandibles clicked in excitement. We could observe authentic human social interactions while minimizing disruption. A perfect field study approach. As the planning continued, news of the Earth expedition spread throughout the university. What had started with a small group of interested students expanded to include professors, researchers, and even members of the Federation scientific community. Earth, long classified as merely a dangerous curiosity, was becoming the focus of serious academic interest. One evening, as Alex was reviewing environmental suit specifications in his quarters, he received a message from Professor Zilnax requesting a private meeting. Curious, he made his way to the professor's office, which was specially designed to accommodate his gelatinous form. Alex entered Professor Zilnax's office, immediately noticing the warm, humid environment designed for the professor's comfort. Zilnax was floating in a shallow pool of nutrient solution, his many eye stalks focused on a holographic display. "Ah, Student Murphy, thank you for coming," Zilnax said, his color shifting to a formal shade of blue-green. "Please sit." Alex sat in a chair designed for humanoid visitors. "Is everything okay, Professor? Is there a problem with the Earth expedition?" "No, quite the opposite," Zilnax said, waving his sensory stalks in excitement. "The Federation Science Council has taken great interest in our program. What began as a simple cultural exchange has evolved into something much more significant." Zilnax manipulated the holographic display, showing Alex a formal document with many official seals. "The Council has approved a permanent human studies department at the university, with expanded exchange programs in both directions. Not just students visiting Earth, but more human students coming here." Alex felt a mix of surprise and pride. All this because of a self-defense demonstration? That was merely the catalyst, Zilnax explained. "Your demonstration revealed a fundamental misunderstanding in how we classified Deathworld species. Assumed that high-gravity, oxygen-rich, predator-filled environments would produce physically strong, but intellectually and ethically simple species, focused only on survival." The professor's color deepened. "Your presence here, and particularly your cultural context for human defensive techniques, has forced us to reconsider. Environmental pressure doesn't simply create toughness, it creates complexity, innovation, and sophisticated ethical systems." "So what does this mean practically?" Alex asked. "It means you've helped change how the galactic community views humans, Student Murphy, and how we might view other Deathworld species we encounter in the future. The Council has asked me to offer you a position as Assistant Director of the new department after you complete your studies." Alex blinked in surprise. "Me? But I'm just a student. I accidentally flipped a robot and caused a panic, and then helped transform that panic into understanding." Zilnax rippled with amusement. "Consider the offer. Your unique perspective would be invaluable." As Alex left the professor's office, his mind was spinning with possibilities. When he'd first arrived at the university, he just wanted to blend in and avoid reinforcing stereotypes about dangerous humans. Now he had the opportunity to reshape those stereotypes entirely. He found Nicole in the training facility, working with a small group of students on meditation techniques adapted for various alien physiologies. How do floating species center themselves? Alex overheard her asking. "Without a ground connection, what serves as your anchor point?" "We use our internal gravity center," explained a vaporate, condensing into a more defined shape, "the point around which our particles naturally organize." Nicole nodded thoughtfully. "Fascinating. Similar concept, different physical expression." She noticed Alex and waved him over. "Perfect timing. We were just exploring how different species experience centering exercises. Did you know the patrons use crystalline resonance patterns similar to our chakra system? Convergent evolution is amazing." Alex pulled her aside and shared Professor Zilnax's offer. Nicole's eyes widened. "That's incredible," she said. "They're really serious about this. The Federation rarely establishes new departments, especially for species as new to galactic society as humans." "I don't know if I'm qualified," Alex admitted. "That's exactly why you're perfect for it," Nicole insisted. "You're learning alongside them. You can help shape how humans are understood while still being open to learning yourself. Their conversation was interrupted by excited clicking as Zrix hurried into the training hall, several data tablets clutched in her appendages. The environmental suits are ready for testing, she announced. The engineers have incorporated all our specifications. If the tests are successful, we could be visiting Earth within 2 cycles. Word spread quickly, and soon students and faculty from across the university were gathering to watch the environmental suit tests. The engineering department had created a chamber that simulated Earth conditions: higher gravity, oxygen-rich atmosphere, variable temperature, and even simulated rain. One by one, representatives of different species entered the chamber in their specialized suits. The Floraxians, with their plant-like biology, wore transparent domes filled with carefully balanced gases to protect them from Earth's nitrogen levels. The methane-breathing Gastorians had sealed suits with external vents to prevent dangerous pressure buildup. The crystalline Petrans had thermal regulation systems to protect them from Earth's temperature variations. Alex and Nicole watched from the observation deck, providing feedback on the suit designs and answering questions about Earth conditions. "Will these really be sufficient?" asked a nervous luminal student, its glow flickering anxiously. "The suits are just one part of the safety protocols," Nicole assured them. "We'll start in controlled environments with medical support nearby. We've selected locations with minimal environmental hazards for the first visits. And remember," Alex added, "millions of humans live on Earth quite comfortably. It's only dangerous if you're not adapted to it." As the tests proceeded successfully, Alex reflected on his journey. What had begun with a simple demonstration of basic self-defense had evolved into something far more profound. A bridge between worlds, a new understanding between species. On the final day before the Earth expedition departure, the university held a special ceremony. Professor Zilnax, now the director of the new Human Studies department, addressed the gathered crowd. When student Murphy first demonstrated human defensive techniques, many were shocked by what seemed like extraordinary physical capabilities, Zilnax said, his color a formal shade of deep blue. "But what we've learned since then is far more valuable than understanding human strength or agility." His sensory stalks waved for emphasis. "We've learned that adaptation is not just physical, but cultural and ethical. That harsh environments produce not just toughness, but wisdom. Not just strength, but restraint." Alex stood with Nicole and the expedition team, watching as Zilnax unveiled a new plaque for the Human Studies department. It bore a simple but powerful motto: "Understanding through experience." "Tomorrow," Zilnax concluded, "the first official Federation expedition to Earth will depart. What they will bring back is not just data, but a deeper understanding of how environment shapes life, thought, and culture. This is the true purpose of the Galactic Federation University. Not just to catalog differences, but to find the universal principles that unite us across the stars." As the ceremony concluded and the expedition team made final preparations, Eerie floated over to Alex, her glow a warm, friendly gold. "Are you nervous about showing us your homeworld?" she asked. Alex smiled. "A little. It's strange. I spent my whole life on Earth taking it for granted. Now I'll be seeing it through your eyes, and I'm not sure what I'll discover about my own home." "That," said Eerie, glowing brighter, "is exactly what makes you a good teacher, Alex Murphy. You showed us your basic self-defense, but what you really demonstrated was something far more important: the willingness to see yourself from another perspective." As Alex looked around at the diverse group of beings preparing to visit his homeworld, he realized that perhaps this was the most important Deathworld adaptation of all: the ability to turn challenges into opportunities for growth and understanding. Not just surviving a harsh environment, but transforming it into something better through cooperation, innovation, and shared wisdom. "Earth isn't just a death world," he said quietly. "It's a learning world, and I think we're all about to learn a lot more about it together."